Have you ever wondered how boxers punch so fast? Or maybe you want to learn how to string together combinations without being predictable. Or maybe you want to ask Cody from Ring Ready Boxing to check his microphone properly before he starts properly recording. Apologies for the audio, it doesn't sound as crisp, but let's get on with the video. Well, this all starts with your jab, the best punch in boxing. And today I'm going to break down the mistakes you're making right now and how to fix them within minutes so you can punch much faster than you are currently. I currently own a free boxing forum where you can join and get a beginner to boxer program completely for free and learn boxing from myself. But otherwise, let's get started with the video. Now, the first mistake you are doing is making your jab a power punch. The jab is not to knock out your opponent. It's not to knock them down. It's not to hurt them. It's simply to score points and set up other punches and combinations. So instead of trying to, really show your jab that is coming and digging it in, you need to make it more about speed. Now, you actually have to think this in your head. Think, no, don't throw my jab for power, throw my jab for speed. Because even if it doesn't land, it can still fluster an opponent and make them think. So again, rather than standing there trying to really push the bag, try and just relax, just that. Think speed all the time, because that is a scoring punch. And if you're not thinking about throwing speed, then you're not going to throw speed within your punches. Now, the next mistake you are making is trying to land the shot. And what I mean by that is, sometimes when we spar, in our heads we're thinking, oh, I really just want to land that one good punch. And this is where we end up missing, falling all over the place, only throwing one or two punches at a time. And this usually stems from the jab, or, well, essentially not using it or not using it correctly. So what a lot of us do, we might pour our jab out like this and then try and land that backhand over the top. We end up leaning in and we might miss, and that's when we're then caught off balance. So this is why with the jab, you have to be willing to fix this mistake by throwing more than two punches. You've got to be willing to miss a couple of punches sometimes to land the third, the fourth, the fifth shot. So rather than thinking, if I throw a sloppy jab and a cross and then just step out because I missed, well, why not throw the jab cross on purpose so then you can land the third shot? Because I might miss the jab cross, then my opponent might try and counter me, then I'll come back with a hook and they walk into the hook. So you need to stop looking for the shot if you want to get faster, more efficient punches, because just trying to land two shots isn't always going to work. But if you string together three, your hands can then be faster because you're not over committing to a single punch or two punches. You're not going, miss, come back out, miss, come back out, one jab, come back out. You can start putting them together. And that way, you'll have faster punches because you're stringing them all together and you're actually willing to take that risk and not just step back out if you miss a shot. Now, the next mistake you're probably making is to do with your distance. And again, this stems from the jab, because if you haven't got your distance right, you're going to struggle to land more punches and have faster punches, because if you're too far, then that gives your opponent more time to see the punch come in, essentially making you less quick and more predictable, which is not what we want, right? So a lot of us, when we're sparring or whatever, we're too far out of range. So for me to hit the bag nut, I have to really take a big step in, which you can kind of see it coming. If I'm back here, it's a little bit easier to see coming, and even I can't land the shots cleanly, and it takes away my speed because I'm waiting too long. What you want to do is from your jab range, and you can practice this on a bag, on the pads, or even just using, you might use a wall. Obviously don't punch the wall, but you can use it. If I just hold my arm up here, that's my jab range. From there, I'm just going to take a half step back. So I'm just out of range now. So let's say the bag was an opponent and it had the same amount of reach as me. Neither of us would be able to land a punch, but all I've got to do to land is take a little step in, then I can come back out. Then I can step back out. Just there. Little step in, then I can get back out. And believe it or not, this will help you be faster, because when you've got your distance right, you're not having to do all that work to come in and then go all the way back out. If you're already in a good position to just quickly get in and out, it's a lot easier. Then you can start putting together quicker combinations like this. This one is a bit harder to practice, but you've got to get your distance right if you want faster punches. The next mistake is going to seem a little bit contradictory because it's probably not what you've been taught, and it's slightly, I wouldn't say it's unorthodox, it's slightly breaking the rules of what you've probably been taught for a beginner, right? So this mistake, what I'm talking about, is keeping your left hand too close to your face, too close. Sounds strange, right? Because I know, keep your hands up and all that, blah, blah, blah. I get that, I'm not saying drop your hands or do anything wrong, but you need to consider, if your hand is by your face here, if I've got my lead hand on my face, I've got to get this from my face to the target and all the way back, right? So that's quite a bit of distance to travel. I'm not sure how long that reach is going to be, but that's a bit of distance to travel. But what if I started my left hand a little bit further out from the face, so it's got half the distance to travel? So rather than having to go from here to here and back, I can start from here, go halfway, then come back. I've got half the distance now, and I can just there, which might be a little bit quicker than this. Because what can happen is people spend too much time protecting themselves where they take away their own speed and power. And I'm not saying you should always have your left hand here, because if someone comes closer to you, you've obviously got to cover up more, right? But at range, why not take some of that distance away? And equally, your left hand can be like a target for your opponent to have to work around and something to think about, making you even harder to land a punch on. So when you throw your own jab, it might even be more unpredictable. And as I say, I'm not saying do this all the time, but that is one mistake you're probably making, is having the left hand or lead hand too close to the face, so it's taking too long to get to the target and back. And that's just a few things to consider. If you want faster punches, you need to go away and fix some mistakes and actually apply the tips I gave you today. But if you enjoyed that video, please join my free boxing forum and I'll coach you completely for free. Otherwise, I'll see you later.